Here in Aspen, Colorado, they don't call it the Ideas Festival for nothing. Take synthetic biology, making cells from scratch. How's that for a big idea? Juan Enriquez co-founded Synthetic Genomics, the company behind that pioneering advance just 2 months ago. He and I talked about the promise and the risks of the so-called life sciences economy.
Now what we're beginning to be able to do is not just insert single genes, but to write the entire gene code of a cell from scratch. And that's going to change how we make energy, how we make lubricants, how we make textiles, how we make medicines. Almost every business in this world is going to change because of this ability.
How do you turn it into revenue? And more importantly, how do you turn it into wealth? How has this become a driver for growth over time?
Well, one of the things that most people haven't realized yet is that they think of this life science economy as a bunch of little Cambridge kooky startups. And what's actually happened is companies like DuPont, which are huge chemical companies, are now getting 33% of their total revenues from life sciences. General Electric is getting about 14% from healthcare and life sciences. The biggest single area of growth and use of IT is becoming life science databases. And what you're watching is very large companies across the whole of the economy are beginning to produce more and more of what they make for life sciences or out of life sciences.
That does, though, present us with some challenges. The digital economy isn't particularly controversial. The life sciences economy is, on the other hand, quite controversial. A life sciences database is one thing, but genetically modified foods is another, and not everybody is on board with that, and we haven't even begun to approach the debate that is going to surround synthetic biology. How do we overcome those kinds of obstacles?
I think you're absolutely right, and I think there's three sections to this. One is we have to make sure that this isn't used for ill, and we have to strengthen things like biological weapons treaties. The second thing is there's going to be a series of ethical debates, and those ethical debates are going to be important. But the third part of this, which is I think just as important, is we've now doubled the lifespan of human beings over the last century. And we're about to increase it again to the point where I think our kids will live to 100, 120, 130.
Really?
Without that much trouble. And they'll probably be running on Miami Beach doing marathons on regrown body parts. And things are going to change in a pretty substantial, interesting way.
This sounds like science fiction to most people, but you think that some of these advances could be realized in your lifetime, in my lifetime, such that we'll begin to see it affect the welfare of our children?
Well, I think we're
maybe even our own welfare.
Oh, it's absolutely changing our own welfare. Let me give you two examples. One of the reasons why we're able to keep wounded soldiers alive in Afghanistan and Iraq is because there's been an enormous regenerative medicine effort, and there's been a whole series of things that we can now do with biology and treatments that are pretty extraordinary. To give you a single example, Anthony Atala at Wake Forest is regrowing bladders, and that's allowing women who've had cancer to walk around with their own bladders instead of plastic bags the rest of their life. Tony's working on 42 organs. Last 3 weeks when I was there, he was printing skin using these little inkjet cartridges, and he filled them with cells instead of with ink, and he was just sitting there printing layers of skin. And then, if you want to try this at home, the latest catalog for Harvard Biosciences allows you to buy a little reactor that will allow you to print a beating mouse heart out of cells. It's just kind of neat for your kids.
A beating mouse heart? Something to put under the Christmas tree this year? Maybe not. But seriously, while there are untold dangers in bioengineering, Juan Enriquez says the benefits are going to be worth it. He predicts that within 10 years, scientists will give the world non-fossil fuels produced by custom-built bacteria and rapid vaccines to stem the outbreak of deadly diseases. Advances, he believes, will make the digital revolution seem like the Middle Ages.